What is going on, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. What we're going to be doing today is watching a little bit of Nick playing his little punt or no punt game with another poker professional. So
I know you're excited about.
So punt meaning that he's just throwing money away with all-ins or not.
Supposed to be quite
all-ins are very nervous for me.
I'm definitely gonna need to go into this one.
Oh, you need
the last one with the leg up.
Okay. Well, if you win this one, it's over. You win.
Yeah, exactly.
So you know that would be ideal, but we are playing 2K and we are playing on ACR
2000
for this one. Bit of a mix of hands, which is enjoyable. Lots of different people.
See how much money he puts in the pot. So folds to him.
Oh, it is 5-10.
Yep.
He should be raising.
And we are opening King 8 of Diamonds, which I'm fully on board with. Make sure you tune in for that. We are opening our King 8 of Diamonds.
All right. Yep.
Which I'm fully okay with. And we are going multi-way. I love this. This means that no one can go ahead and solve this. At least now, in this day and age, they can't. I'm sure you'll be able to one day. But right now, no solving. I've got a lot of practice in multi-way spots because I play in a pool where people like to see the flop, and I also play live where multi-way spots. I feel like they're my sort of area. I'm checking range here, which I imagine you're doing as well.
Yep.
Yep. Do you want to talk about briefly why? I'm sure they'd rather hear it from you than me. Why you check range in this spot?
Yeah, basically, especially multi-way pots, but just in general, when I get flatted by someone in position, there's a lot of flops. I'm going to simplify my strategy, just like basically range checking. It's going to give me a completely uncapped checking range, and when the button flats in this spot, they are going to have less of the speculative open, less of the speculative hands, because I'm going to open hands here like king 4 suited, king 5 suited, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Whereas their calling range is going to be mainly like pairs, suited connectors and broadways. So they're just going to, especially boards like this, they're going to either have a very strong hand or a very bad hand, but they're going to have more of the strong hands, right?
Yeah.
So basically our small bets won't work that well. We're not really going to bet a ton multi-way on boards like this anyways. So I'm just going to simplify to checking, letting the position, if the person on the button bets, then I'm going to proceed with, calls and check.
Kevin Cookies, what's up, Kevin Cookies?
Yep, fully on board. Everyone that watches me regularly will know that the range check is my absolute favorite weapon. Yep. And Kevin Cookies goes for another check, and we have a decision to make. Now, obviously we have all of our hands. So that's a good thing. And we have a lot of very good hands. We're going to have stuff like boats, 2 pairs, straights, all sorts. So we definitely want to have some bluffs.
Yeah,
does this hand feature, Ryan? Would you say is a good hand to start betting?
I thought, so basically in this spot, I think I'm going to mainly, especially multi-way, I'm going to use mainly a smaller size as my betting range here.
All right, so what are we thinking in a spot like this? I like a check, which is just because I have no idea what I'm doing. So he likes a small bet into a pot of 72. What would I be betting? So I guess you're just kind of betting to see somebody calls / re-raises, and then I think you always fold here. You got to probably bet somebody. You're trying to hope to get somebody out here. So I'm going to say you're betting something like 35 to like $45, $43,
so that
something like that.
To bet big sizes multi-way.
Sure.
Probably 35.
You limit your ability
probably.
to bet, obviously, because you're betting into 2 ranges. You are no longer able to bet thin at all, and it's not like I want to bet super thin here, but I'm going to probably want to bet worse than a 10 at least. I'm going to have like pocket kings and aces that could definitely bet, and I'm going to have some strong queen X.
Yeah,
and then I'm going to have a mix of high equity and low equity bluffs. And I thought this combo was decent because I have both the king and the 8 of diamonds. So I block king 10 of diamonds and 10 8 of diamonds, which could be in both players' ranges. So it's better than, if I have like, king 8 of hearts, this becomes a much worse bet basically. So it's like just bad enough, just good enough, kind of similar to that 8-5 example we looked at the end of the last video, where I thought I could use this as a bluff at least some of the time.
Yep. That makes sense to me. I'm happy to continue with betting, and I like the idea of betting small because, yeah, like you said, can't really bet big with like aces and kings. You definitely want to bet those, so small makes sense. Flat from the button and a fold from the big blind. So the button has decided not to raise the turn, which I imagine we can say rules out and check back the flop. Like, how do you feel about what that says about his range going into the river before we see it?
Yeah, I would think it's pretty capped because the only hands I would say want to trap in spots like this would be full houses.
Yeah.
But that's not always true. You also have a hand like Jack 10.
Tens, nines,
Jack 10 actually works as a decent trap here because when I have bluffs like this, I'm drawing dead.
Yeah.
So he has like a non-nutted 10 that's invulnerable anyways. So if he wants to like protect his call range here, using a hand like Jack 10 is pretty good. But yeah, I don't think he has like any like super strong hands because he checked the flop multi-way, and even if in theory you're supposed to have some really strong checks in every spot, I don't think anyone's checking back like king jack or some sort of set or two pair.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah.
So I think he's kind of capped to maybe jack 10, maybe some ace 10, but in general, like we'll say a 10 is the top end of his range for the most part here.
In terms of our specific combo, I don't mind including it in a larger bet, I would say. But at the same time, a deuce is not really a card I expect to get many folds on. Do we know anything about the button?
No, not much.
Okay. How do you feel your success rate's going to be against a random opponent on the deuce of diamonds?
At least, I mean, after this video, probably 0. But before these videos,
below 0.
Maybe some through.
Yeah.
You could probably 3 would be the max sizings I would use. I would want another block, I think, because I think I can still value bet at least some queen X here. And whenever you use that size, again, you're just kind of challenging your opponent to make some lighter hero calls. And not having clubs, not having a jack, like he can get to the river with hands like ace jack, clubs, and then he can have hands like even pocket eights. Obviously we block pocket eights, but like he can have some hands that reluctantly call turn and then don't really like any river bet size. And because of the fact that the pot's multi-way, I don't have as many like pure air balls on the turn. So like if it was heads up, I could just have some pure garbage at the turn, and then those hands are great block bluffs on the river. You don't get to have that many bluffs in your blocking range anyways, because you give your opponent such a good price.
Yeah.
But in this formation, because it was multi-way on the turn, I don't have like pure airball on the turn because I'm betting into 2 ranges. So it's like you have to have some semblance of equity. So this is probably the lowest equity hand I have that doesn't really block a portion of his folding range and unblocks ace high. So I thought I could use this in the small size. As we talked about, it does block some trips.
Little Blocksky. I'm actually quite a big fan of this.
And this is the end of the hand.
Yeah, no punt. Move on to hand number 5. No, that's obviously not what's going to happen. Right. So there's a lot of things that we've said that are going to become very relevant in a second, I imagine, because we all know, we can all see where this is going. Button's going to raise, and then we are going to decide that that's not enough money to play for.
287.
Now, so we've blocked the river, which we've talked about already, which I'm definitely on board with. Like you said, we don't want to have too many hands, but this makes sense. Like our blockers aren't like amazing, so we're going to use, like, you can mix this into some other sizes, but I think it's super reasonable to use it as a block.
Yeah.
Because you can get ace high to fold, right? That would call the turn. Is that fair?
Yep.
Yep. And like pocket 8s, even though we have an 8, or pocket 7s potentially, but pocket 7s probably not, because it probably has to fold the turn anyway. So yeah, maybe the fact that we have an 8 is not ideal in that sense, but block I think block makes sense to me, and ace high certainly going to fold.
9s,
if we had ace high with a gut shot, certainly going to fold to a block. So I'm pretty happy with the block size. He's raised, and now we have to decide how we feel about our combo as a 3-bet shove. Now there is another.
It's pretty big too. For what it's worth. I made it 30. He made it 10x basically.
Put a lot of money in, and well, the thing is, if he has got a 10, then a 10.
Yep.
So into my mind, always bluff should mean
terrible.
King 8. Do this because in pretty distinctive, more positive blockers than this to block some full houses, for example, potentially, or I mean, I guess if you're.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you play the full house, but he's probably not going to raise like that.
Right? So I thought like I unblock all potential bluffs, which are gonna be maybe hands like ace jack, maybe a hand like jack 9 suited. I guess you can use a hand like king 9 suited in this spot, but I have the king of diamonds.
Alexa, stop.
I unblock his king 9 suited.
I don't know.
I used to play poker pre-solver. Like I didn't play professionally, but that was where I first started playing poker.
Street poker.
So I kind of like old school like. The other coaches in my CFP call it like just like street poker, where sometimes I'll just like deviate entirely and just kind of get in the streets. And I guess a lot of this just relied on I didn't really respect my villain's ability to slow play hands to the river that are better than say Jack 10 or Ace 10 in this spot. And I can easily, and so when that's the case, he's never gonna have a great blocker to call. Obviously he's gonna have a 10 here, but like he's gonna have to expect me to block twice and block 3-bet jam the river with a hand that is a pure bluff, which is pretty rare in spots like this.
That's true.
And so if I think he never has the nuts, I'm just kind of challenging him to like put me on a bluff in a spot like this where it just feels super nutted. So maybe not the most like theory-based reason, but it was just kind of like I just felt like
I don't have the steel metal.
Did anyone expect Ryan
All right, guys, but we're only watching that one hand. I think that was long enough.